The New York-based band released their debut album in early March of 1967. The album was recorded the previous year while the band had been taken under the wing of acclaimed visual artist Andy Warhol. Despite the album only selling roughly 30,000 copies upon its initial release, its influence over all of popular music, and popular culture for that matter, cannot be overstated. Musician Brian Eno summarized its legacy perfect, stating that everyone who bought one of those albums went on to start a band. The Velvet Underground deviated from what could be called mainstream rock and roll in more extreme fashion than any other band of the 1960s. They epitomized what it meant to be an art rock band, expanding their performances to include much more than music. But in the world of Andy Warhol, they created a multi-sensory experience. Their music on the album was very experimental, grappling with elements of psychedelia, early punk rock, and is credited by many as the birth of alternative music. The early lineup of the Velvet Underground included Lou Reed, John Cale, Sterling Morrison, and Maureen Tucker. The members recorded over 4 days at the rundown Spectre studio for a cost of approximately $2,000. Under the direction of Warhol, German singer Nico was involved in the recording sessions as a lead vocalist on several tracks. She had performed with the band during Warhol's previous art tour. Much of the legacy that remains today from this album is tied to the lyrical themes the band explored. Topics such as sex, drugs, and deviant lifestyles were all fair game when recording. Many of these ideas were heard by audiences for the first time. Lou Reed penned many of the lyrics, writing several detailed accounts of heroin use. The sounds on the album bounce from atmospheric and airy melodies that chime in with the bells of Sunday morning, then move immediately to the abrasive proto-punk drum beat heard on I'm Waiting for the Man, and then back to the light and gentle Nico-led Femme Fatale. By the 4th track, Venus and Furs, the band had seduced its audience and would take them on a journey through the dark landscape of the East Coast underground art scene over the remainder of the album. The slow burn and total impact of this debut album did not come fully into scope until the end of the 1970s, when it became clear that their influence on popular culture was arguably as great as even the Beatles. It was not just bands that were influenced and inspired from Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground, but entirely new genres of music emerged from its listeners. Bands that are cited as being influenced by the Velvets include Sonic Youth, the Sex Pistols, Joy Division, Nick Cave, the Talking Heads, and U2. And that is just scratching the surface. As you can see, the effects of this one album continue to ripple through the atmosphere today, over 50 years later.